All right, everybody, thanks for joining in once again. This episode, we are taking a step back to the 60s of all things, a movie that predates us both by a good 10 years or so. And we're going all the way back to 1967 with Mad Monster Party.
This is a fun one. Yeah, I remember I was in there was a period of time where I was like in this huge Halloween themed cartoon, Halloween special phase, and I was picking up all the copies I could of like Charlie Brown's Great Pumpkin, Garfield's Halloween, my favorite one, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Disney version, and Witch's Night Out, which is one we did a few episodes back. And this was one that I can't remember how I came across it, or if I came across it like on my own, or if somebody had recommended it. But I don't remember this at all when, as a kid growing up. I don't remember watching it ever. Do you remember that at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. Yeah, it was, you watch like this is a Rankin and Bass production, like all the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and all those, Frosty the Snowman, and you see those every year, but I don't remember them playing this like around Halloween time.
I don't remember when I first even was aware of this movie. I know it wasn't that horribly long ago. If it was 20 years ago, I would be surprised. I would say it was probably more within like the last 10, maybe 15 years. And I do remember like seeing stuff about this, like either like on Facebook or something, like even before I was aware of it. And I was like, what the hell is that? It looks like Rudolph or something. And then, and then either finally saw it like on Netflix or Prime or something, or rented it like at Redbox or something. I don't even remember the first time I saw it, but yeah, it was one of those. When I saw it, I was like, oh, this is all retro and stuff. And then come to find out like later, I'm like, oh, this is like 50 years old? That's weird.
Way old.
Huh. Never, yeah, like you, I never remember seeing this ever as a kid. I mean, if I did, I don't remember it. And
yeah, must have had some strange resurgence. Or because, it seems like it wasn't, when I picked it up on DVD, it didn't seem like it was very difficult to find or anything. It seemed like it was pretty well, there are quite a few of them out there, and I think they still are making them, like new issues, like with new cover art and all of that.
Right. And when I picked it up on VHS not too long ago, I would say the same thing, that there must be plenty of tapes out there, because it's not like I paid an arm and a leg for it. I think I paid $5 or something for it on eBay. It wasn't very much. I mean, it was under 10. I know that. But anyway, yeah, so there must be plenty of copies of it out there. And the one that I have, me and you were talking about this, and I don't have any other tapes that have this, which is really weird. So the tape that I have, the cover looks very retro on it.
Yeah, it does.
Really old school. And on the back, there's three date stamps on it. One is like Mad Monster Party, copyright 1967. And then there's something about the tape being released like in 1995. But then underneath that it says artwork from 1985. And I've never seen a tape or anything like album cover or anything ever that says like, oh, this artwork is from 1985.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, that is weird. And you think they would have upgraded it? Seemed like they do that a lot when they put new releases out. When I first watched this, this must have been like, I think it was like the early 2000s, probably 2005, somewhere around there when I first picked it up.
So we could have actually been like in the same time frame, because that would have been like 15 years ago. So
yeah, could have. Okay. Picked it up on DVD. I think I bought it right away. I don't think I rented it or anything to see it first, and then watched it, and it was a real cool, gave that real cool Halloween vibe. Kind of that, like we talked about, like the one we did not too long ago, Witches and Stitches, and how it's sort of just like kind of like a classic Halloween vibe when you turn it on. You see like the gothic Frankenstein type mad scientist houses and the monsters, and yeah, it was really cool. And basically this is like a kind of a riff on the Universal monsters.
Well, let me ask you this, see, it's how we're going to kind of sort of get into the plot of this a little bit, because this is something that I'm really curious about. So I have a couple of comments. First off is, I think that probably part of the reason why we never saw this when we were kids was maybe because our parents were aware of it and were aware of the fact that little kids probably shouldn't be watching this. Because even though I don't think little kids would get a lot of the like stuff that's going on in here, this thing is not meant for kids at all. It's like it is not like kid friendly at all. I mean, it's not vulgar or violent or anything, but when you're a grown up and you're watching this, you're like, damn, if my kids would have been watching this when they were little, I would have been exposing them to this. I mean, there's some parts of it to where it's not vulgar and dirty, but you're almost kind of like, do they mean what I think they mean there? Kind of a thing.
I think it's a perfect example of a film designed for kids to enjoy looking at, and so their parents could have something to get into while their kids are watching the movie. But the kids, everything would go right over their head. So
my other thing, though, with this is, and I've seen it now, like probably, I mean, not too awful many times. I want to say maybe 3 or 4 times, so not that many times. But every time I watch this, I have no idea what the hell is going on. Like, it's like the plot is so weird, and like you look away for a second, and you look back, and you're like, wait, where are they now? Who's that?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, no, it is. There's a lot to it, and it's kind of, that's the one thing I'm going to say right now, just kind of going into my critical voice about this film, is this thing would be a lot more fun if it was a lot shorter. It's, with a runtime of 95 minutes, I think they should have done, use the same anima, the claymation and all that stuff, and come up with a cool little story and done like a 30-40 minute short film. I think it's just way too long.
Yeah, that's actually probably the reason why we don't remember it when we were kids, because it wasn't 30 minutes long. So whoever was showing Rudolph and Frosty, I mean, not that they would have been shown at the same time, but whoever was showing Charlie Brown's and the Great Pumpkin and stuff, they probably were like, oh, we don't have time for this and that, and we're not going to play a 2-hour movie. The kids aren't going to want to watch that.
Well, yeah, with like the Halloween specials, like Charlie Brown and
right.
Witches Night Out, those were just like 30-minute, less than, because you're got to factor in the commercials and all that. So yeah, those were quick, real Halloween specials. But was Rudolph? That was a longer one though too, I think. And that was, those Rankin and Bass films seemed like they kind of played pretty long.
Yeah, I don't remember. Was Rudolph?
I think it was. I think it was like probably. Because I have the collection of those too on DVD, all those Christmas ones, and I think the Frosties was a little bit shorter, but I think Rudolph and some of the other ones there were kind of lengthy, and this kind of falls right along the lines of that, where it's a very, were these like TV specials for the most part, like after, these didn't go to the theater, did they?
I don't think so. With what you had said before, and we've talked about similar stuff with this, that happened in the 90s and 2000s and stuff with home video, is you had these things that somebody probably remembered from when they were kids that was on one time or something, and started doing some digging with the with everybody having internet available at their homes all of a sudden, I started doing some digging, trying to figure out, first of all, what was that one weird thing they remembered with the monsters, but they were sure it was animated from when they were a kid, and then they were like, oh, that's Mad Monster Party, cool. And then enough people started like showing some interest in it, and then they're like, oh, cool, let's put this out on tape so people can have it.
It did become one of those cult favorites, I think, over time.
Yeah. Because as I say, too, another one that we've talked about here, we haven't talked about it for a long time, but we talked about it extensively at one time, which would have been Curtains, which was sort of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people seem to remember it from somewhere, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, hey, yeah, that weird movie that seemed like it was like 8 movies in one. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think this is one of those that, somebody saw way back when and like, hey, remember this? The monsters and all that? Oh, yeah. And then they find it, and then before you know it, everybody's talking about it, and here it is.
Yep. Yeah, but I got to tell you, man. So I'll tell you the whole story. So yesterday I was home alone, and then got all my stuff done, and I was like, oh, man, I got to watch a couple movies for the recording session this weekend. I'm like, oh, Mad Monster Party. This should be fun. Saturday afternoon, hanging out by myself. Then I was like, oh, do I want to get some beer and popcorn for this? I'm like, it's still pretty early yet. I don't think so. Ooh, I got an idea. Let's spark up a bowl, and then let's watch it.
Oh, nice.
So I watched this yesterday when I was high. And so that probably didn't help. But I remember it like got over, and then I was like, okay, that was cool, and I liked it. What the fuck just happened? I have no idea what the hell happened in that movie.
Oh, that's funny. I think that can happen to you high or not high. Just sort of totally not have no idea what you just watched. It's like, okay, that was a lot of monsters and some cool stop motion animation and something about then there's like a little music number in the middle somewhere with the skeleton.
Oh, that's so like weird.
Yeah.
And then and so here's the thing too. Here's a couple of things that really make this movie just odd. So you have all these Universal monster characters in it. And you have this character that Boris Karloff is voicing, who oddly sort of looks like Boris Karloff.
Yes.
And then you have Phyllis Diller doing this other character, and this character sort of looks like Phyllis Diller, which is really weird. But then you have the creature, who looks nothing like the creature from the Black Lagoon, and you're just like, did that guy not get the memo? Was he like, oh, I just did my own interpretation of the creature. Sorry, guys. I didn't know what we were supposed to do.
I wonder if there's some type of legal issue with, copying the likeness of the creature. Because I've seen that in some toys, too, where they do, like, the Universal monsters, and they always make the creature look, like a creature from the water, but it's not enough to like look like the Universal version. So I'm wondering if there's like a likeness version issue with that.
Well, and then here's my other thing too, and let me look this up real quick before I even say anything. The other thing I was wondering, and I was wondering this yesterday, but I didn't look it up yesterday, but I just looked it up real quick because they had all these Universal monsters in here, and then King Kong's in it.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck is King Kong doing here?
Right.
And then I was trying to remember. I was like, oh, is King Kong, was that a Universal movie? And they somehow think that that's a Universal monster, but it's not. It was Radio Pictures was the company that distributed King Kong in 1933. But it was just weird. Like, all these characters look like who you think they're supposed to be, and then the creature comes on and you're like, what? Who's that? What the hell is that thing?
Too funny.
Oh man, it was hilarious. But yeah, it was weird too because yeah, like there's a couple of musical numbers in there that are like they just like come out of nowhere and you're like, what's going on here? That's okay. And like the one song is kind of like sexual and stuff, and you're like, okay, whatever. And then you had the Felix character who is doing a Jimmy Stewart impersonation the entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's an interesting movie for sure. It's a movie, to me it's like a movie that's fun to look at, but to really get into the story and to really get into what's going on, and it doesn't really do it for me, you know. Like you said, like you walk away and you don't really understand what you just saw, but you're still at the same time you're like, well, it was kind of entertaining. I think it's sort of that creepy Halloween gothic vibe that kind of, especially around, October, this, as we're getting towards the Halloween season, it's one of those movies that kind of fun to like put in the background and, like you said, maybe smoke a bowl or have a few beers and just sit back and, have it going and probably chat with somebody while you're watching it. It's not like a focus on this thing, be too attentive of it.
Yeah, I wonder if you actually sat there and really, 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 really paid attention to this movie, if you would actually know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, probably very confusing. It is funny though that it is very dated though, with like the '60s music and all.
Oh
that.
Yeah, yep.
That whole, like we talked about, like the skeleton number.
Oh, the other thing too, I wanted to ask you about, to get your interpretation on this, because I just picked up on this yesterday. So there's this scene towards the later in the movie, and the creature is like sitting on these stairs, and then there's the guy is like leaning up against the wall below him, like trying to get some sleep or whatever. And the creature like spews out a bunch of water onto his head a couple of different times.
Yeah, it happens a few times.
So the thing this is what I don't understand with that. Instead of just like him like spitting a little bit, essentially just like regurgitating this water. So I mean, is the creature just like puking on this guy's head? Is that what he's doing?
Who knows?
Oh, it was Dr. Jekyll. That's right. That's who it was.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does like almost like he looks like a fountain when he's doing it.
Yeah, it's so funny because at first I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious," and then after I was like, "Wait, is he seasick or something? What's he doing? Is he puking on his head?"
Yeah,
it's just a weird movie. But like you said, I think this is a perfect one for exactly that. If you're having like a get together or the weekend in October and you're doing stuff around the house and you want something, and this actually would be perfect for this if you're doing like some chores around the house, you could throw this on and you could hear it in the kitchen while you're doing dishes and then go sit down and watch it for a couple of minutes, go fold some clothes, come back, sit down, watch it for a couple of minutes, go do something else, come back, sit down and watch it for a few minutes. Start getting dinner together or whatever, come back and watch it for a few minutes. I don't think you're going to really miss much, whether you sit down the entire time or if you're out and about, bouncing around doing some other stuff while it's playing in the background. And there's probably people listening to this like, what the fuck is wrong with you two? This movie's great. This is what happens in it, and this is what it means. And so, I mean, if you can explain to us, like in a relatively short period of time, please do.
Let us know the details of this film. We are not aware.
But with that said, though, I will say, though, that I give Mad Monster Party, I give it a thumbs up. I mean, it's like you said, this is, even though it's not from my childhood, it's very nostalgic watching this because it seems like it should be from my childhood. It reminds me of Rudolph. It reminds me of Frosty the Snowman. Kind of reminds me, even there's parts of it that remind me of How the Grinch Stole Christmas a little bit. It just has that whole feel to it, even though I know that's pure animation. It's not stop motion. But yeah, I mean, it's a it's a fun little movie, and it's one you can get a little buzz on and sit back and try to figure out what the hell's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say, like, this is one that 20 years ago or so, I was putting this in my regular rotation for Halloween themed movies, especially when my kids were younger. But I haven't watched it in a while, and it's not one that I've, as time has gone on, it's like you said, it's like one where you're like, I say to myself, yeah, Man Monster Party. It's the one about the monsters are in it. I don't remember what the story was, but the stop motion was cool. It looked cool, but yeah, it's so I think, like I said, like we talked about, it's kind of a cool background film while you're just kind of kicking back, and so because of I got to give them props for the stop motion. I mean, they do a really good job with atmosphere, and the vibe of the movie's great. Although it's not one that I'm going to probably sit down and watch every year, like like what we talked about, some of the other kid friendly movies. So I'm going to go ahead and say I will give it a thumbs up, and I would recommend it.